Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura, and today's video will help outline a strategy for you to be successful at your next new internship or full-time job. So congratulations, you have your new role lined up, but what's next? It can be scary to start a new job, especially remote, and you don't get to meet anyone, but today we'll outline a strategy of how you can find success and also gain visibility. The first thing you want to drill down is, what are your top priorities? This really comes down to, what are your basic responsibilities on the job? If you're hired as a software engineering intern, what project are you working on and what language will you be coding in? Regardless of where you're working, it also comes down to why you were hired, what your project is, and who you're working with. Another important aspect is setting goals. What do you want out of this role, and how can this role help you achieve your next career moves or help you get to where you want to be? Obviously, another core objective is to learn. Regardless of where you are in your career, there's always something you can learn out of a new role, responsibility, project, job, and it's really on you to make sure that you're getting the most out of your internship or job. Lastly, complete your project to the best of your ability. This is more applicable if you're an intern, as you'll be assigned a 10 or 12 week internship project, but even as a full-time, you'll be rotated throughout projects, so you want to do your best to be fulfilling the goals and expectations put onto you for these projects. Do know though that your manager, your team, and your mentor, if you're an intern or new grad, are definitely there to help you grow and support you. So ask yourself, what are their roles in supporting your goals and learnings, and also how can you utilize them to the best of your ability while you're at that company. The second core priority is taking charge of your needs. This was touched upon in the previous section, but really it's important to advocate for yourself and know what you want. As you start, what questions do you have? Do you have questions about onboarding, what resources you need, what kind of development that the team programs in? Simply ask your team, your manager, or your mentor, because I promise you all these people are here to help you and help you succeed. The more of your time that you waste trying to find these answers on your own, the more time that you've wasted for your team overall. The first week at a new job or internship will always be super slow, so don't expect yourself to be delivering or promising any sort of features on your first week. I think a really important tip though is to start setting up meetings with people on your team and within your domain generally to just get situated with what your project is and the kinds of knowledge and tools you need to know in order to be successful. Please do not wait for someone to come to you. You need to go to other people. If you're waiting for people to come to you, then you've already wasted precious time that you could have spent talking to people and getting to know people. Your manager and mentor are there to prioritize your growth, especially if you're an intern or a new grad. So don't be afraid to ask those dumb questions that you think you may look stupid asking, just do it. Be sure to set up weekly meetings, particularly one-on-ones with people that you'll be reporting to or that will be in charge of recording your performance. So for an intern or new grad, this will be your manager and your mentor. And for other roles, it may involve other people involved in your project. In these one-on-ones though, you want to clearly communicate what your status on these tasks are, talk about highs and lows, and also tracking action items. These one-on-ones are valuable opportunities to figure out how you can gain visibility within the company and also make sure that you're performing well and on track with your expectations and also your manager and mentor's expectations. The more that you communicate, the more in the clear you are, and the less chances there are for misunderstanding and less chances for conflict to arise with anyone that you're working with. Third, proactively seek feedback. Feedback is the number one way to know if you're on the right track or not. If no one ever says a peep to anyone else, then there's really zero idea about what's going on. The best way to get open and honest feedback though is to talk with people that you're regularly in contact with and are aware of the work that you're doing, especially your manager and your mentor, team, and whatever executive may be in charge of your project. You also want to make sure that you're asking specific and focused questions. So instead of saying, how am I doing this week? You want to be saying something more like, I delivered on X feature this week, and I was wondering if you could take a look at the architecture design that I've created and seeing if that fits within the scope of our project. I don't really know if that was a well-formulated question, but the idea and the specifics are there. Of course, you can't just get to know everyone on your first week, so you really want to develop these relationships with people over time and over the course of when you're at that company. By developing these relationships, it becomes a lot less awkward to ask for feedback, and you generally just get to know and network with more people. 4, figure out how you can grow during your time at that company. Internships are really short. 10 to 12 or 16 weeks will pass by really quickly, and you really want to utilize that time at the company as best as you can. As a student, you won't get the same resources and support as you will at a company, so utilizing your time at a company can really help push you further in terms of your professional development and overall growth. Obviously, full-time roles will give you a little bit more time to integrate into the team and get to know people, so you can really extend your experience at a full-time role. To best grow though, you want to circle back to the initial goals that you set at the beginning of your internship. Now that you had a couple weeks to settle in, who can you connect with to help you reach your goals? For example, one of my goals could be to learn underwater basket weaving, which is a very specific skill that not many people know about. In order to make progress on this goal though, I really need to reach out to people that know about underwater basket weaving or are really specialized experts in that field. No one on my team is an underwater basket weaving expert or aficionado in any way, but I can reach out to them and ask them, hey, do you know anyone that I can actually go talk to about underwater basket weaving? Most of the time, at least one person will say yes, and your manager is often pretty well connected at that company too, so be sure to ask your manager. On a similar note though, you also want to make sure to communicate your goals with your manager and mentor, so along the way, in 4 or 6 weeks, they can check in with you about those goals and also help keep you accountable. This is also helpful though, so if your manager or mentor ever run into someone or a resource that can be helpful to help you achieve your goals, then they can immediately connect you to or help set up a meeting between you two. Especially as an intern, I really want to iterate the importance of not spending all your time only working on your project heads down and sitting at your desk, hypothetically or in person. As an intern or a new grad, there are going to be a lot of events put on by a company to help foster learning, development, diversity, growth, etc. that I think are valuable resources to at least step away from time to time and go visit. As an intern though, I can promise you that making friends with other people that are interns will actually help you feel a lot more connected and generally make your time at the company feel more worth it and special. And I think that just spending some time to actually create those connections in a remote environment is really important. I promise you that you can create great friendships and memories even though you're remote and get to know tons of different people. Fifth, I want to highlight networking with people outside of your team. Your team are great resources, but then again, so is literally everyone else at the company that you're at. Networking with people outside of your team expands your network generally, and you can really find some valuable people to talk to. You can generally broaden your knowledge base about different areas you've always been interested in, so if you're interested in iOS development but you never actually got a chance to work on mobile development, then reach out to an iOS engineer. You can use internal databases to find people that you want to talk to, or again, just by word of mouth with your mentor, managers, and team. You can also definitely ask other interns what their teams are doing if you're interested in working on their team or generally just their knowledge base. You can always also attend intern and new hire events because their goals are primarily to help connect you with other interns and new hires and also to share knowledge and resources around. So lastly is sixth, what are your long-term goals? Do you know if you want a return offer from this company? Do you want to stay here long term? What are you looking for in your career? For many interns, an important part of working at a company is getting a return offer so that they can have a secure future. Moving into next summer, they don't have to worry about hunting for another job, or if they do, they can at least have some competitiveness between their job offers. For new grads and new hires, it's really important to know if you want to stay here long term. A company can be everything you want it to be within the first year, but it can also quickly deteriorate shortly after, or even in your first year. Some of your expectations may not line up, you may not be learning as much, and from there you may want to jump ship and find a different company. Everyone's experience is different, so be honest with yourself and generally figure out if you're still enjoying your time at this company. This also really comes down to what you value in a job. Do you care about compensation, work-life balance, location, stability, benefits? There's a lot of different calculations that come in play here, and everyone's priorities are different, so there's no judgment from me or anyone else about your priority. Reflect on your internship or full-time job so far. Are you enjoying it? And if not, what changes need to be made? If you can articulate a clear list, then bring this up with your mentor or manager because their goal is to make sure that you are having a good experience and a good time. If you're not having a good time, no one is going to be able to change it unless you actually speak out and say why you're not having a good time. This also helps the mentor and manager be better in future intern cohorts though, so don't be afraid to speak out. I'll mention this again, but be sure to circle back to your initial goals that you set out at the beginning of your internship. If this internship wasn't for you, then great, you crossed off a bucket list item sort of. You know that you don't want to go into software development or PM or whatever it may be. And if it does align, then congratulations, you found something that you enjoy and will set you up for a good career in the long term. So these are the 6 pillars that I found to be helpful in starting a new internship or a new job. You can kind of use it as a checklist as you move through your internship, but be sure to constantly reflect and ask yourself questions of if this role is right for me, if I'm still enjoying my time, and if I'm truly learning as much as I want to be. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips for people starting a new job and how they can set up their expectations going into that new role. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!